moves the stop to risk-free. All right, to the entry, so we can lock in a risk-free parameter on that. 51.78. Again, we've got to manage our risk. All right. So waiting for that to occur. Today, being a cycle day 3, again, you can read the daily trade strategy. Bottom line is, obviously with the continuation down yesterday, a lot of long liquidation occurred yesterday. There was a number of margin calls out there that had to be fulfilled. Exacerbates. I think Danny Riley had mentioned yesterday that there was some CTA for selling, commodity trading advisor, trend type following for selling yesterday as well. Not surprising. Today, again, we've had basically, a large trend down over the past couple of days, right? So today's expectation is what we refer to as market after trend day, or, we're just looking for oscillations early on. All right, market's trying to find a balanced area, okay, of value. And if you recall the 2880 level, for those that were around with us yesterday, all right, the 2880s marked a 200% level of the 10-day average true range, which is up here, all right, basically 40.5 points. That's on a 10-day average. So twice that with 80 handles. All right, and that had pushed down to the 2880s yesterday. All right, as you can see here, there was a response. We talked about that late in the day. All right, going into the close, we had a buy opportunity there. We discussed with our group after the close yesterday. Rally up here in the overnight didn't really carry too far, and as you can see here, we're just kind of oscillating around that prior close. All right, same thing for the NAS. So again, early expectations will be for some oscillations here. All right, just kind of, until the market can find some sort of whether it's going to continuation lower. All right, if margin selling hits again, don't know what's going to happen there, but if it does, again, a break below the prior lows close, all right, would open the door for some deeper downside. In terms of what the bulls need to accomplish, they need to get back above the overnight highs here, this high volume cluster. All right, again, 95s, 2900s. All right, being that we're on a cycle day 3 and we're below the cycle day 1 low, all right, typically when that occurs, we usually have pretty good odds to get back up to the cycle day 1 low, which is way up here, 29.37. We've seen stranger things happen and prices rally all the way back up there. So I'm not going to throw that scenario out the window right now. But the idea would be to, in terms of a positive 3-day cycle statistic, price would need to get back at or above the cycle day 1 low, which is up there at 29.37. Failure to do so, technically it would be a failed 3-day cycle, but usually give 1 extra day for that recovery to occur if it doesn't happen on the following day, tomorrow. If it doesn't happen today and it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's a locked in failed cycle. 2 failed cycles in a row, okay, ushers in a more bearish sentiment and tone, and those are very rare. It's that we see 2 failed cycles, so that's effectively an entire week, right? 6 days. But that has happened in the past. So whether the sentiment here, is that negative, again, yet to be seen. But obviously, people tend to get negative pretty quickly. If you take a look at the weekly chart here, all right, on the weekly, prices are still, however fragile perhaps, but we're still in an uptrend. You know, is strong as that move down yesterday. We've seen prior strong down moves over week basis. But again, as you can see here, the prices are still have higher lows right now. It would really take a break below the 2800s, you know, 28s, 2770s, these weekly lows here, to really say that the, you know, this high would be more important in place high. So there's, again, it's definitely coiling here, as you can tell. All right, definitely coiling. So that's just the bigger picture weekly. So again, we'll find out that by the end of the week. Again, if there's continuation down, these pivot lows here, 2820, 2800, 2780, that whole range would be in play. All right. Again, just bigger picture stuff. Okay, that's really kind of the briefing right now. There's not much more to add to that. Yep, market needs to prove itself one way or the other. Again, right now the bears do have the advantage. All right, the bulls slipped on the bar of soap. All right, and so the bears have ball control right now. It's theirs to lose. All right, if they can keep it going. All right, and again, the idea would be push below the low, push for these lower cycle day 3 violation target levels, range lows, etc. So that's what their goal would be. Obviously, the question becomes: is the market priced fair enough where the bulls want to come in and buy the dip again? Okay, so again, I don't make any predictions. I'm just you know, October, by the way, and you know, two reasons I kind of like, you know, today's this month's password for the daily trade strategy, Rocktober. Okay, kind of twofold rationale for that password. One, you know, if anybody rock and rollers out there, right, musician out rock and rollers, Rocktober is kind of one of those, you know, musical type months where, you know, it's Rocktober, right? You know, rocking. And then secondly, October tends to be a rocky month trading. Okay. Um, so I think it's apropos, Rocktober. All right. Keep your powder dry. All right. Again, stay in alignment with the underlying themes. All right. Again, there are a lot of people yesterday, I almost assured of it, trying to buy those lows, try to pick the lows, etc. And I'm sure they didn't do too well. So, anyways, we're coming up. We're getting another 5 or 6 minutes here for the cash equity opening, and we'll take it from there. All right. Again, still short on the crude. Once it crosses the 51.78s, we'll look to move our stop to break even, and then see if it will pay us today down to the 57s area. All right. Again, we want to manage our risk. An alternate stop, all right, would be to the midpoint, the opening range midpoint. That's an alternate stop. All right. If again, the core strategy stop is to the opposite side. All right, but the alternate stop can be to the midpoint here. All right, to help mitigate some of the overall risk. Okay, just going to hang tight here. Being that it is a fairly wide opening, all right, again, I'm going to bring my stop down to the mid. Okay, that's a fairly wide opening. We only have one contract, so I'm going to just manage that way. And again, if we get across the 78s here, all right, stop will come to even, and then we'll be risk-free on the trade. Again, the way I manage it, this is for the model strategy. All right, if you're actually trading, all right, trading it for yourself on the strategy, all right, be sure to manage your risk accordingly. All right. Again, Hans, if you just read up a few lines, okay? I made some commentaries regarding the NQ and ES up there for what the early expectation is. All right, so take a look at that posting up there. And it's best to also read the daily trade strategy, right? So scroll up where you'll see the key links. Okay, you should all have access to the key links and the daily trade strategy there with the current password. All right, that's the first place to start, all right, each morning. Do you have access to the PTG website? You have access to all the free videos that are there, Greenie. Okay, and to navigate around, there's a number of videos that you can watch, but there is no access to the members area right now. Okay, so in the members area we have again another number of more detailed videos explaining the method, various aspects of the method, the trade setups, how we what we look for specifically in each of the trade setups and strategies. Okay, that's all as a member, but there are a number of good educational videos free available throughout the site regarding indicators and so forth. Just scroll up. All right, just scroll up where it says key links. There's a whole bank of key links there in the chat. So you just got to scroll up. They're all available there. Which tab are you talking about, Java? The daily trade strategy? Again, that's just scroll up in the link section. All right, I post key links every day at the beginning of the day. So the daily trade strategy link is there with the password, if that's what you're talking about. All right, we're going to open up the NQ here in a moment. All right, so we have the AutoX prepared there. Okay, opening is opening. All right, so we'll see what all the pent up action is here on the opening. Marlon, you need to create like an opening bell. Ding, 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 ding. And then a closing bell. Audio. Like we're on the floor. All right. Let's see what happens here. So we get a decent opening in the NQ. All right. Obviously, sellers aggressive here on the opening. Get that crude oil down. Again, expectation is for oscillations here, so push downs, pushes up, push downs, push up. Battle for ball control off the open. And with this type of day, expect, again, fast moves up, fast moves down. Okay, wait for, again, a directional clue to come into play.
Order canceled.
All right, we're long on the NQ 8050. Again, just a single lot position size. Again, plenty of room to move up, plenty of room to move down. All right, crude oil, stop comes to even. All right, we crossed that threshold. All right, so we're risk-free on the crude oil. Again, I only have one contract in the crude oil position sizing, so typically what I do on days like that, when I only have a single contract, I just go for the base hit, right, which means target one, our first target level. Okay, I just go for the base hit. I don't have anything left to work with based upon position sizing. If I had two, again, we'd take one off there anyways, and then we would look to push the second lot. Okay, yesterday we had 4 lots, and it worked out super duper, all right, really well yesterday. Today, not so much, just a single. Again, we're risk-free once we've crossed that threshold at 78. All right, so risk is covered. On the NQ, we're long at the top part of the range there. If again, oscillations as we expected. So that makes for the opening range a little bit tougher, you know, with after a morning after trend day. But that said, we'll see what happens. Reversal, stop and reverse will come at the low part of the range. Okay, so. All right, that crude oil, that past most recent 3-minute candle, that's a wide. These are, by the way, volume candle bars, if you're familiar with those. All right, so the wider the bar, the greater amount of volume on that. All right, so the volume candle bars. All right, so there's some volume associated with that down move, bigger than the up moves. When it's thin bars, there's not a lot of volume, relatively speaking. All right, so we'll see if there's a continued push down there. How about those free commissions, huh? Charlie Schwab, TD Ameritrade. Why don't they have free commissions in futures? Well, if we do get a stop and reverse, there is room to move to the downside. All right, to yesterday's low. All right, again, worst case scenarios, we get just stuck in a range. Yeah, that's true, Brent. You're right. I would have never thought that we would see zero commissions on trading stocks. No, would never have crossed my mind that they would be. That's a lot of revenue given up. Are you asking me, Greeny? We're still long NQ. Right on the screen there. Yeah. On our opening range, again, stops at the opposite side of the 3-minute bar, and then it's the strategy calls for a stop and a reverse. So we would short, get stopped out, and enter a short at that. That's how the strategy is laid out, and then it would look to target lower levels. Again, worst case scenarios, you get what's called a double stop, which, you know, stopped in, stopped out, stop in, then stopped out again, and we're basically in a range condition. But in many cases, when we get a stop in reverse, okay, when we get a stop in reverse, the market tends to accelerate, all right, on the reversal portion of it. All right, so we end up mitigating our initial loss and possibly getting on the right side with a gain. All right, so again, we're very strict on the parameters here. All right, don't always, obviously, if you waited to buy the mid area, you would have gotten a better entry. Okay, but again, the idea of the opening range is a momentum play. Okay, it's really a breakout momentum play. I'm right on the opening, and in most cases, it works quite well. But there will be your times where, you know, again, such as today, we have oscillations. All right, crude oil, again, where our stop is at break even. All right, didn't get to the first target. We've mitigated our risk. All right, so 51.97. If we get stopped, that will be an even trade, a scratch. Yeah, welcome to stop and go. Yeah, right. Exactly. Um, Tasty works Tastyworks put a snag in commissions with one side and cheap even on futures, and it was coming anyway. Yeah, was it Tasty Trades? Was it Think or Swim, Jim? TOS? Tastyworks. Yeah, Sosnoff. I would imagine they'd probably, again, I'm just guessing, but instead of the commissions, getting commissions, they'd probably just charge a management fee, just like an account fee. All right, we're still long NQ, right at entry here. Let's see if we get a push. Crude oil, we're on the verge of getting stopped even. If we do, not a worry. Today is the type of day we refer to as TMAR. Right, take the money and run. If you earn a trade, and you got a couple points in it. Again, be sure to just keep taking some profit, small profit here and there, because it can evaporate very quickly on an oscillation day like this. Oh, you read my mind, John. I was just going to say, well, what's the schedule today? So 10 o'clock, Marlin. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong day. That would help. We got Q&A today. All right. And then, oh, cool. Gagan's at 11. Hey guys, be sure to watch Gagan Dafu over at ES Zones at 11 today. It's going to be a good presentation. Bomber Traders beyond that, and then Ophir Gottlieb. All right, all good. Great lineup today. Great lineup today. Yeah. Sosnoff made out like a bandit, as they say, right? As the phrase goes. He made out like a bandit with TD. Probably his best trade of his career. Funny guy. He's a funny guy. So, guys, I hope everybody's enjoying their time with us this week. All right, on the symposium across the whole board, some great presentations this week, and again, the transparency that the whole group here, everybody offers. There's no mystery here. We work hard. We work hard like everybody else. We struggle like everybody else. but we're persistent. You know, in the day when I was working for the investment banks, I had my share of, you know, great profitable days, weeks, months, and my share of the downs as well. And we learned over a period of time, you know, when you're struggling, the mantra, you know, that we use every day was, you know, thank you, may I have another? You know, when you're getting slammed, when you're getting, um, uh, uh, let's just say, as the saying goes, bitch slapped. All right. Sorry about that for everybody, but that's how we would describe it. And we would just say thank you. You know, suck it up. You know, thank you. May I have another. And in other words, just keep pressing forward, as hard as it may be. Just keep pressing forward. Thank you. May I have another. Thank you. May I have another. You know, and never giving up. You know, it's like building calluses. You know, if you have soft hands, you know, you're not going to be able to survive too long. You got to build those calluses. You know, you got to get rough and tough hands. If you are going through hell, better keep going. I like that, Mike. Yeah, I like that, Mike. All right. If you're in hell, just keep going. Maybe you'll get out of it, you know, but just keep going. Keep plugging away. Now, I am running the strategy here, all right, you know, for our model portfolio as we, all right, I'm running it as pure, all right, as the strategy calls, which means, you know, there was an opportunity here on the bounce back up to entry. If somebody, you know, if you felt uncomfortable being long or you had an opportunity to scratch on the bounce and you wanted to do that, then that is your prerogative, right? Remember, manage your risk the way, you know, you see fit. All right. Um, I am running it in its truest and purest sense. Okay. Again, for tracking purposes. All right. So we see how the strategy performs across. Right. So if I start saying, well, I don't like it anymore, I'm just going to scratch. All right. Well, if that's great, and you should do that for yourself if you feel uncomfortable, but then that begins to skew the results. Okay. So again, the way I'm running it, it has to be pure. All right. Is whether I like it or not, you know, again, it has to be pure for tracking purposes. So so again, always feel free to manage your risk accordingly. You know, if you scratched, if you went in there and you bounced and you scratched, again, you can always re-enter. Right. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I'm testing a um, uh, an opening range where it continues to re-engage over a period of time. But right now, that's not the case. So. But again, as soon as we can get to our risk-free position, right? So what would that be? As soon as it brings up to the threshold here, all right, at 95 quarter, all right, if we get a pop up there, again, stop comes to even. Again, we look to mitigate our risk. All right, we got close to getting stopped out on crude, but didn't. So we're still alive. They gave us a lifeline. Greeny, are you asking me these questions? I don't know how you can sit through some of these down moves. Is that directed to me? You mean on the NQ here? Again, we follow a strict. Okay, so we follow a strict risk parameters. Okay, so on the opening range, I have my risk parameters. Okay, and I have an automatic position size. All right, so for the account that I trade and so forth, I've already predetermined what the risk is. I'm accepting of that risk, number one. Okay, we follow the strategy to the letter. Okay, and yeah, Dan, I'll mention that in a moment. Thank you. All right, we follow the strategy to the letter. So yes, I didn't get the best entry price, so to speak, if you want, if you will, because it's at the upper edge. But there will be days where, again, this strategy is a momentum type strategy. All right, and like yesterday, we saw in crude oil. If you were around yesterday morning in crude oil, okay, we got a good position. We had four contracts yesterday. All right, and we hit all three targets to the downside. So it was a big day. I think I pulled in about $1,500 on that. Some folks were upwards close to double that. Okay, in the membership. So again, you're going to have real good days, all right, and you're going to have marginal days, all right. But again, being able to say, okay, how do I hold, all right, these down moves, all right. Well, bottom line is my risk is to the low. So anything in between that, I'm fine. So it's a matter of defining what your risk is ahead of time. Okay, and being accepting of it. Right? You can't be, waffling, every up and down tick. Otherwise, you're not ever going to be, you're not ever going to make it as a successful trader if you're waffling on every up and down tick and you're worrying on every up and down tick. All right. So, by the way, one of our members has been tracking the opening range for 2.5 years now. Okay, 2.5 years of data, and again, I'm just going to verbally say this because it's his data. All right, we're up 50, 50, or R. All right, yeah. Since well, we have 2 years of data. Whoop, we got news. We got something happening here.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Oh, the ISM, right? Okay. All right.
Order filled.
All right. I have no idea. Everything is stopped here. I think I'm short, but I don't know. No, I might be long. Everything is frozen. All right, we got our crude oil. Crude oil fills. I'm short on the NQ here, by the way. So I'm going to bring my stop all the way down. Short on the NQ, filled on the crude oil. Boom. All right. Flat on the NQ, guys. On the stop and reverse. Reversal targets hit. Yeah. All right, I'll summarize shortly. That was the ISM craziness. All right. I'll let me catch up on everything. I have to walk through this. Wow, I got some slippage there too, huh? All right, let me just summarize. Crude oil, target filled at NQ, stop and reverse, targets filled. All right, we're flat. And again, the computer did all that, by the way. I'll summarize it and I'll give everybody snapshots. I'll summarize it. But the computer did all that. I could not have done that faster. That's crazy. All right, let me catch up on this and I'll come back to you guys shortly. All right, so that's 440. All right, NQ. 75.80. 75.48, smart 75. 74.99. Well, that moved 50. 80, 50, 8.75, 31 times 20. Okay, so minus 635. Divided by 5. Wow. Net positive there. Yay. Divided by 174. Check that. 75, 31. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me, 1 second, guys. I'm going to summarize everything for you here. All right, guys, that's your summary. All right, guys, the spreadsheet is updated if you want to take a look, but you get the summary right there if you want. All right, decent opening. Again, a little wild movement. All right, again, we were, just as a quick summary, we were short on the crude oil. All right, and we hit our lower target, went a little bit beyond, but again, that was the ISM news. And then NQ, we were long. Okay, got stopped out, got stopped in. I actually had, looks like about 4.5 or so points of slippage on the entry after getting stopped. Even so, hit the lower target zone, that we had, and that gain on the short covered the loss on the long, and then a couple $100 on top of that. So we actually had a net positive on the NQ. All right, so again, that's the strategy in action using the auto execution. You would have never executed that fast. No human would have been able to execute that fast. You would have been indecisive, and even then, I got slippage with the auto. All right, how fast it went. Okay, so that is opening range complete. Crazy. Yeah, reversal targets hit, but net plus, absolutely. All right, so that's our opening range, guys. That's how it works every day. All right, and again, we stay disciplined to it. Again, there's absolutely no way I would have been able to execute that manually. Questions? Bueller? Okay. How's that for transparency? You're not going to get any more transparent than that.